Mm. Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. You know, it's crazy. I have talked about some of these crazy proposed trades. Okay, we're getting all of these crazy proposed trades and moves that the Cowboys would make, and they're just getting crazier and crazier by the minute. I talked about earlier about this one for Micah Parsons to New England uh, for a boatload of picks. The thing is, if you're New England is Leroy, Leroy. I thought Leroy was out here. If you're New England, you're in kind of the same boat as we are. You're rebuilding. You don't trade that much draft capital for one guy who's 25 because it's going to take some years for you to really get together. To say we're going to take $200 million and pay him, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take, our number one draft picks for the next two seasons, our second and third and fifth, and it's just these things just don't even make any rhyme or reason. At least if you guys are going to make proposed trades, at least make ones that are credible. Now, I just saw another one because it's like they're coming every 2 hours. I saw another one that was Tyreek Hill, and of course, the landing spot that Miami is getting tired of Tyreek Hill and his contract and everything else, and the negative publicity, and that they may be looking to trade him. And one team, of course, to discuss is, well, it's the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm not going to say that Tyreek Hill isn't a talent. I'm not. But he is 32 years old. He's got a lot of baggage and a whole lot of money. And unless they're giving away for a ham sandwich, I'm not sure that you want to have that distraction. The thing that's still funny to me is when you look at some of the best wide receivers in football, they're not necessarily making or winning Super Bowls. Great wide receivers are needed. Don't get me wrong. We need those. But there's other things that needed to go along with them. And, running game, it's got a key. You look at the difference of the Eagles with Saquon there. You look at like 2014 Dallas Cowboys where, DeMarco Murray had 1,800 yards. When you look at some of the years that Emmitt Smith had, those are different makers in making a team. And I was looking at something that was really kind of interesting, to me at least. I like numbers. I love numbers. And I was looking back, and I want to say the 22 season, and we lost to San Francisco in the playoffs that year. And the funny thing on that was, or not funny thing, we rushed for over 2,300 yards. We were actually one of the better rushing teams in the NFL. We were third in rushing, and we were sixth in passing. Really balanced offense. But the thing was, when we got into the playoffs, we could not run the football. When we went against San Francisco rushed for like 178 yards, and we rushed for like 60 some, and I think 29 of that was Dak Prescott. That Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott, by the time we got to the playoffs, had been injured and weren't able to perform. And this is where I get beat down, where everybody says, well, Dak's got to be able to do it. Well, if your defense can't stop the run, although they didn't give up a lot of points, but time of possession, San Francisco owned, and you can't run the football. Leroy? Or is that the wolf? Okay. When I hear a rustle, I'm calling wolf. I mean Fox. Leroy, come on over here. I probably need to worry about him getting eaten up by the fox. Those are things that make a difference when you're in the playoffs. It just does. You know, I get accused of being this Dak Prescott lover and boyfriend and all this other crap. You know, the funny thing about that year that we lost and how we always talk about losing to San Francisco. The funny thing was, the next week, San Francisco played against the Green Bay Packers, where Aaron Rodgers was league MVP, and they were playing on a week's rest. And a San Francisco team that we beat up, Jimmy Garoppolo only had like 109 passing yards. That team, led by Aaron Rodgers, literally only scored 9 points. Number 1 seed on a week's rest, playing at home. The funniest thing was, we had Dak Prescott haters saying, making excuses for Aaron Rodgers. Well, it was cold. The weather was bad. And I'm like, you know, that's what Green Bay's known for. The frozen tundra. Now you're going to say it was a disadvantage when they're playing against a warm weather team? Really? It's kind of crazy. Well, the discussion we had was, and Momo is Mr. Negativity, and automatically it's always no. It shouldn't be Momo, it should be no, because everything's no. Somebody asked me if they said, is Dak Prescott a Hall of Famer? I said, if Dak Prescott wins a Super Bowl, then he should be a Hall of Famer. And of course he said, no, there's no way. Winning one Super Bowl? I said, no. I said, you have to understand, if Dak Prescott will probably end up having the yardage record this year. If he throws 40 TDs, then he'll have the Dallas Cowboys all-time TD passing. If he owns all of the Dallas Cowboys passing records, and after 30 years of Cowboys ineptitude with Jerry Jones, and wins the Super Bowl and is the first one to do so, yeah, I think you have to put him in there. I think you have to put him in there. And I get beat down for that. But that's the way I feel, the way I look at it. Aaron Rodgers is going to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, right? He's got 1 Super Bowl. He's got a couple of MVPs. Dak should have had one 2 years ago. But those MVPs didn't lead him to being a Super Bowl champion. Come on here, Leroy. Leave that fox alone. Come on here. Leroy. Come here. Come on up here. Say hello. So that's my thoughts on that. But I am trying to be a better person. I am trying not to waste my time, because everybody will point out, for whatever reason, I get more hate and trolls on the Jobu Sports Report, and I don't know why. Yeah, I talk a little smack, but I got that from my dad because it's not meant with malice. It's trash talking. It's just trash talking. It's not personal against people. But people will take that as it's personal. I'm trying not to cuss people out. I'm trying not to use the F word, dropping the F-bombs on here. And I'm trying to be a better person. There is so much hate, jealousy, and animosity against each other. It's sad. People, we need each other. We used to be the country that came together to help one another out. And it's my goal to try and get back to that. When I read my dad's eulogy, they said my dad never met a stranger. As in, nobody was ever a stranger to him. He treated everybody like a friend. My dad would go out of his way to help people. My dad was the kind of person that saw a woman in the grocery store and she didn't have enough money to buy formula for her babies. My dad said, get what you need, and bought it for her. Went to my mom. I told her to get what she needed. I didn't know it was going to be $46. But that's the kind of person my dad was. He looked out for others. He cared about others. And he treated others with respect. We all can take a lesson from my dad. And I miss you, Dad. I'm going to try and do better. No, I'm going to do better. And I hope you guys join me in that endeavor. Remember to tell the people you love how much you love them. Sadly, time goes by too fast. And you don't want to live with any regrets. I love you guys. Leroy. Leroy. Come on here. Where's that child? Okay, I don't know which one it is. All right. I'll see you guys. Oh, it might be the fox. Could be the fox. Peace out.